Come sliding in from nowhere and absolutely wiped him out. Up at Manchester United, Old Trafford, people shouting at you in the street, everyone knows who you are, just weren't 100% comfortable with it, to be honest with you. An initiation process where, no word of a lie, you wouldn't sleep for 2 weeks. I've got quite an addictive personality. I got myself addicted to watching Big Brother. Banter. Burnley was, without a doubt, the best season I've ever had in football. Some fights going on and that sort of thing at the Christmas do. Went back out for the second half, and then I don't remember, the next one I know, I was in an ambulance. I sort of passed out, so I'm trying to get my shoulder back in the joint. Adam Drury come over and said, "Don't look down." So I made me look down, I could just see the bone sticking out my knee. Standing ovation from the whole of Old Trafford, which was obviously something dreams of mate, like wearing a Cambridge shirt coming off at Old Trafford. It was incredible. Incredible.
Luke Chadwick, how are we doing?
Very well, thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming. Very formal introduction there, Luke.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this one, lads.
We've heard a few tales.
We've had literally with Tony Warner.
Yeah. Las Vegas. You told us a few.
You promised me we wouldn't speak about that.
We're full of shit.
It's lucky Tony's so big, because if I lost it, it would have been horrible. The best one was after when Warner done what he done in the queue. Can you remember?
No.
Gary Dock, when he was so drunk he couldn't get his vest on. that old woman was had to put his hands in the air. He had to be like a small child. Hands up. Funniest thing I've ever seen in his life.
He pops up a bit, Gary Dock, doesn't he?
He's an absolute legend, isn't he?
Oh, what a man.
Gary Dock, man.
So was this during your time at Norwich?
At Norwich, we went there, because you didn't come to LA, did you? We did 4 days in Vegas and then 3 in LA. But you went back after Vegas.
Yeah. Vegas was more than enough for me.
But obviously in Vegas, you get the tables and that sorted out. So when you meet the hosts of the night, you kind of don't want them to know that you're footballers. So like, they'll get chatting and they'll be like, yeah,
funny enough, none ever look at me and think he's a footballer. You know what I mean? So I've always got away with it.
So, you know, I'm a physio or he's an electrician or whatever. He bowls over. I'm Luke Chadwick. I used to play for Man United.
A load of rubbish. I can't believe you just said that.
Classic, man. I remember the day that Tony pissed on you. And you were just sat in disbelief.
I couldn't believe it happened. I was minding my own business, sat in a corner, doing a nice quiet bottle of lager at the pool party. All of a sudden, something on my shoulder. Turn around. What's happening here?
What it's something like snakes on a plane? You just seen this big, because he's obviously got a big one wood, Tony, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't even think he put his wood through it. I think it was just a perfect
through the hole.
It was expert accuracy.
I respect him more for it. He saw the opportunity was there and he took it.
So you're just sat there with a bottle of lager, minding your own.
Yeah. That's what you get.
And he's pissed on you. You've got to be a certain type of character to take that. I know it's Tony and he's a big old unit.
Yeah.
But you've got to just think, it go one or two ways, can't it?
I think I was the first person you came to and just went, Chris, Tony Warner's just pissed on us.
What do I do? So just leave it like
a man.
What will be your next move, Chris? Pretty much same as yours. Just totally ignore it and forget it ever happened.
But me and you were Tony Grant's first signing, Peter Grant's first signings, weren't we? At Norwich.
Yeah, that probably explained the way it went.
The demise.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember when we went on pre-season to Holland and we went out all done up and it was some quiet little town in Holland and we ended up, it was me, you, Gary Dock again, I think it might have been Semi, and we got a taxi into Amsterdam. It was about 3 hours away. Just got in it, had a few drinks, got in the taxi. Oh, can you take us to Amsterdam, mate? Which was about 3 hours later, we got there. 3 hour journey, we got lost as well. Then we got split up. It's me and Gary Dock got split up.
It was heavy trance music in that club as well. I don't know if you were there,
yeah,
but
I remember, yeah.
horrible music as well. After one drink, we just wanted to go home. Terrible.
Take us to Amsterdam.
6 hour round trip. Training the next morning.
Funny, man.
You come back same night? Well, obviously.
Yeah, we back to the hotel, yeah.
We had to.
That's night out desperation, that, isn't it? 3 hours. I mean,
it was
an
a
hour.
long week though, wasn't it?
Pre-season, wasn't it? That one where you going stir
You're just
crazy.
ready.
Yeah.
Just ready for it.
It was one of them that I don't think I wanted to go, but I was already committed from before, and I didn't want to back down.
Yeah.
Do you still fancy? But yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
Come on then.
Premier League winner. We've not had many of them on.
No,
Have we had any?
I'm not sure. David May.
David May.
David, yeah, it was a bit of a gesture, wasn't it? But
He said how we do it. I don't know what he said about I wasn't exactly an integral part of that squad.
But you've still got the medal.
Yeah, obviously it's incredible to have got that. Obviously, I just pinch yourself time really being involved in a squad with that quality of player and getting enough appearances to win a Premier League medal.
How many do you need?
10.
10.
how can we go from being pissed on by Tony Warner to talking Premier
Winning the
League?
Premier League
Within 2 minutes.
Everybody and
It's football, isn't it?
that's what we do best on this podcast.
What a squad to come through.
Oh, incredible. Like the players that were there, like every day in training was so intense. You're just striving to be at their level every day. It was obviously an incredible experience, but it was hard at the same time because obviously deep down you know you're not quite as good as them every day. But it was incredible. Wouldn't change it for the world being part of that squad. I don't think I was ever that comfortable with actually being famous, as it were. I love playing football, but the other stuff that come with it, I don't know if I was ever completely comfortable with that. And obviously,
A bit much feel like, you think?
Yeah, just all I really wanted to do was to play. It was so far out of what I was used to. I'm come from a little village in the south of Cambridge, and all of a sudden I'm up at Manchester United, Old Trafford, people shouting at you in the street, everyone knows who you are. Just weren't 100% comfortable with it, to be honest with you.
Could you feel it affecting your development then at the time?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think like when you get in a team, it was incredible. You got to play with a bit of freedom, but then obviously it gets a bit harder. Your appearances come a bit fewer far between because the players that you're playing with are of such a calibre that you can't exactly be knocking the gaffer's door down and say I should be playing here. And I just think it just come to a point where you can stay somewhere and be a squad player, or just try and go and make your own way and get some appearances in football, really.
How did it come about you first getting your chance? Did he take an instant liking to you, Ferguson?
I think he didn't really notice that he took it in. I think obviously I used to come in and work hard all the time and do the best I could, which I think he respected and the other players respected. I think I went on loan to Antwerp for about 9 months, and when I come back from there I weren't expecting it at all, but I was sort of thrown straight into the first team squad. Made an appearance in League Cup against Watford, started that game and done well, and then ever since then, that whole season I was in the squad, coming on, making a fair few appearances.
When did you get your first contract?
First contract?
2000, 99, 2000.
So my first professional contract would have been when I turned 17, when there was 2 of us when we were apprentices, and we were doing quite well, so I think we all got 50 odd quid a week back then as an apprentice wage, and then if you done well you got a professional contract, and I think it went up to about 500 quid a week at the time. I was absolutely buzzed.
Staying in digs as well. So
Staying in digs, so it was just all my own money. Couldn't drive.
So who was the other one?
How did you get to Man U then?
So I got to Man U. I was born in Cambridge, and I was playing for Cambridge schools. And I think back in, probably the same with you two, when back in then schools football was a big thing. So you played for your area team on a Saturday, and then a professional club if you played for a professional club on a Sunday. And I scored a lot of goals there. I was played a striker at the time, and just got scouted by Manchester United. Ray Medwell scouted me. God rest his soul, he's dead now, but he's a fantastic man, and he took me up to Manchester for a trial, and ever since then, the second I got up there, I absolutely loved it. There's no other football club like it for making you feel welcome. Like everything's done so incredibly well, and you're made to feel like $1 million. So, excuse me. Once I got there, that was a place that I wanted to be. I didn't want to go. I was at Arsenal at the time, but I never wanted to go back to Arsenal. I wanted to stay at Man U after that.
So did you get scouted for United whilst playing at Arsenal?
For Cambridge, so I was playing for the Cambridge schools team. That's where I got scouted.
Right.
But I was still playing for Arsenal and training with Arsenal at the same time.
I know you were a bit of a home bird in terms of you didn't like leaving Cambridge that much. Was homesickness a big thing early doors?
Yeah, massively. When I first moved up in digs to Manchester.
How old are you? Sorry.
16. So I signed when I was about 15, and then I'd go up on the train at a weekend and be on the bench for the A or the B team on a Saturday, and then play in my age group on the Sunday. And then once I finished school at 16, I moved into digs, and was there full time really. And that was when the first year I got really homesick, and I'd be on the phone home saying to me dad, "Can't you just sort me out at Cambridge United?" And I'll come and live
But you've been serious, weren't you?
Yeah, deadly serious. Yeah, that was it. But then you get used to it, and like, I don't know about you guys, but them scholar years are incredible, isn't they? When you make friends for life, really, and it's such a incredible time. So once I got used to it, I absolutely loved it. So
in that first 6 months, if you could have moved to Cambridge from Manchester United, you'd have snapped the hand off.
I think I would. I think everyone would have tried to talk me out of it, because obviously I had this incredible opportunity of being at one of the biggest clubs in the world. But at the time, how I felt was I'd rather have been, like you say, I do like being at home. I like being near my friends and family, and so that was a massive part of it.
Did he, Ben Thornley, obviously a bit before your time at United, but he told us about some initiations and whatnot, running around the pitch.
There's the initiation, called it fun and games at Man United. And it was when you was a first year scholar, when you got up there, you'd have to, all the first, the whole of the second year, all the pros, all the first team were there, and you had to sort of do stuff. I don't want to go into it in great detail, but you'd have to get it'd be
skim over the top then.
An initiation process where no word of a lie, you wouldn't sleep for 2 weeks leading up to it. It was that scary. Like the fun and games, it used to bring terror to my mind thinking about it. Once it's done, it's the best feeling in the world, but it was a terrible, terrible thing leading up to the fun and games.
Tell us what you had to do. Well,
I think one thing I had to do, I was pretending to play tennis, but I had to make all the noises like a tennis player does, the grunting against an imaginary player on the other side of the physio bench, while all Ryan Giggs, Nicky Butt, David Bell were there watching. It was it's an awkward situation. I do tend to find myself in a lot of awkward situations, to be fair, but that was right up there. But once you do it, you do feel even more part of it. I think Gary Neville, I think people have spoke about it a lot, and it's obviously not something that goes on in this day and age, but I'm sure back in the day you two have got a few stories to tell from your...
I think you're getting out of jail there. I think I could do that. And I don't like being in them situations, but a couple of forehands and that. I wouldn't mind doing
as you can imagine, I'm not actually telling you the exact thing. I don't want to do that.
I'm imagining you've got no clothes on. That's what we had to do one Christmas. We were the worst Christmas singers at Christmas, so the forfeit were run round the first team pitch naked for 3 times, and then at the end of it, just fucking ice buckets.
Dropping.
Pardon?
Dropping the ice bucket.
They were fucking thrown at us. So that was running around. All the canteen staff are there as well watching, and obviously Christmas carols December. That fucking weather don't do a lot for you, one would. You know what I mean? and then 10 minutes later, they're serving you jacket tatey, and they're just singing around the pitch with no fucking gear on.
I remember watching you, Chaddy. I think you were playing in the under-19s. It was at the Cliff, and I'd only been in the under-13s or something, and everybody was saying the next Beckham, the next Beckham. Yeah, and you were unbelievable like that day that I watched you. But I don't think you played in the first team then.
No, that would probably have been. That was when it was the under-17s and under-19s. I would imagine that would have been. The under-19s always played at the Cliff. Oh, thanks for your kind words, Chris. I wasn't expecting that.
But you said like you felt out of place. You weren't as good a player as some of them, but you get brought into the first team in 1999 into that squad. That's like just after the treble-winning season, isn't it?
Yes, I think it would have been...
So you must have been doing all right.
Yeah, like I was always quite confident in playing football, of being quite a good footballer. It's more the other stuff that goes with it in terms of I just ain't cut out to be a superstar, I don't think.
So you'd feel uncomfortable walking around the Trafford Centre?
Yeah, that sort of thing. I would feel real uncomfortable about it. I just wouldn't like doing it. I'd stay in my flat a lot and not really do that sort of thing, because I just didn't like it and didn't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, I know one man around this table who would have loved that.
Oh, I'd have gone out with me kit. Did Ferguson pick up on it? Do you know? Did they say that you weren't coming out your shell a lot and you didn't like that side of it? Was there anything done to help you?
No, not really. I mean that's what football was. I think it's changed now for the better, which is absolutely brilliant. But I think all them sort of things, if you're doing well on the pitch, that's all that really mattered. Because I was doing quite well, it was up to me to go and seek someone to speak to. I think it's hard to, because that's what I was like. I was a real quiet lad. I never went out my way to really build loads of relationships. I got on well enough with everyone, but I'd always be quite quiet, sit in a dressing room, didn't know what to, I wouldn't really like pipe up and say much in front of all the big stars that played there at the time.
Who else was in your youth team? Was that Greenan and that?
So Jono would have been a couple of years older. Wes Brown and Richie Wellings would have been the ones that really had good careers that were the year above me. And John O'Shea was the same year as me, obviously had a fantastic career.
Tell us that one about your contract going in. You don't have to mention figures, but I've told it on here before. When you got, did you stitch the other lads up or something?
I didn't stitch anyone. I'd say all I've done is what I always do is tell the truth. So I was doing quite well at the time, played a few games and got called in to be offered a new contract. So I got offered a contract. I didn't have an agent or anything like that. So I went back down, said something to a few people. They said, "Oh, you ought to ask for more than that." I said, "Well, I'm not going to ask him for more, am I?" So he called me back up and I said...
this with Alex Ferguson, did he do the contract?
With the manager, yeah. And I said, there's another player that I played with, I was in the England under-21s at the time. I said, it's just I feel like I'm as good as him and he's earning this amount. He goes, "Oh, well, we'll give you that amount then." So I thought, okay. So he said, "Go away and think about it." So I went back out and I spoke to one of the players, like one of the senior players at the time. And I said, "Oh, let my agent, lawyer sort it out for you. They'll sort it out." So ended up him going to do that. Next thing I know, I get a call and it's like, I've won the bloody lottery. So I got a really good deal at the time.
Deserved though, if you're that age and
playing in the first team.
Yeah, well, maybe not.
You're doing well, but not quite that well.
So the lads were, obviously there's a few lads that were doing a similar sort of thing to me in the squad a lot of the time, maybe not as coming on as much. So they asked me what I was getting, so I told them, and they said, "Oh, flipping out and rubbing their hands together." So they called in one at a time about theirs and they asked for the same thing. And then I saw the manager walking in the corridor and he just gave me sort of a look and a point as if to say, "What have you done here?"
You fucking killed me.
Did he mention it?
No,
It was just a look.
Yeah, just
that was enough.
Look. That was more than enough. More than enough.
Was he scary?
He was one of the most incredible people I've ever met in my life. He'd make you run through. You'd want to be the one person that you'd want to impress. The one person. If he said, "Well done to you, done well," it made you feel on top of the world. You'd never have a feeling like it at all. It was incredible the aura he had around him and like the way he'd treat everyone at the club with so much respect. Obviously, if you crossed him or you weren't doing what you needed to do, he'd let you know that. But he was one of the most incredible people I've ever met in my life. I had the pleasure of meeting.
So if if you're walking down the corridor and you see him, you're thinking, "I'll just nip in this room so I don't have to meet him on the corridor," or
yeah, he'd have that.
Try and stay away from him as much as you could.
If you were doing well, then maybe. But like
tap him on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Morning. Oh, well done, love.
And there's one time when I was sort of on my way. I weren't going to break through at Man United, and the manager wanted me to go on loan to Cardiff because I think Lenny Lawrence was a manager, and obviously the manager and him were good friends. But my wife was pregnant at the time with our first child, so we wanted to get closer home. So I had the opportunity to go to Reading, which is not that much closer to home, but a little bit closer.
It's 40 minutes, maybe.
So I saw him that morning. He had the hump with me because he wanted me to go to Cardiff. So I went down to Reading, and obviously I was on a good contract at the time, and I sort of went down without his blessing. Met in a room with Alan Pardew, And Alan Pardew said, the gaffer's tried to phone me up, obviously, Sir Alex.
Yeah.
So Pardew was on the phone to Sir Alex, and his face just dropped. And, like, I could just hear a raised voice speaking to Pards, and it was Sir Alex. And then he, like, didn't even say, oh, like, the manager must have just hung up. And he's put the phone down, and he said, well, so what he's saying is, he said, you're more than welcome to sign here, but obviously Reading could only afford to pay half the wages. So it was either go to Reading for half the money or go to Cardiff. So, to be fair, I took the deal at Reading. I took half my money, but one of the reasons I did that is so I didn't have to go back to Manchester and get told off by the gaffer.
That was you done that?
No, so then what happened? I was on loan at Reading for the rest of that season, and then I went back. I still had a couple of years left of my contract at Man United, so I went back, and for pre-season, I was still so worried about this whole situation because I've not seen or heard from him.
Not slept all summer.
But then he spoke to me and he said, like, I've got so much respect for what you've done there, like as if because you gave up just to play football, you didn't just go there.
So did Man U not make the other half up then?
No. So I just got.
So if you'd have gone to Cardiff, they'd have paid the other half.
Yeah, they would have all, but
he's basically said, well, you can go to Reading, but we're not paying the other half of your wages.
Yeah. But then he did say that he's got a lot of respect for doing that.
Yeah. I don't think I'd have done that. No, I wouldn't have done that.
Well, you wouldn't have dropped half your money?
No.
In hindsight, now that I'm skint, I probably should.
Phoning back to Sir Alex, is there any chance? Do you know that 5 months' money that I waive? Is there any chance we can get it back, please?
Saying all that though, they did look. Obviously, I left there, and they did look after me fantastically well. The way that they treated me as a player and after leaving a club was, they do obviously do things properly at a club like that.
It's mad though, because you were in the squad. You were, like you say, you were coming on and making an impact and stuff. But do you think it was your lack of self-belief that got to the point where you?
Because I was always confident enough on the pitch. I think it's more the other side. I think a big problem I had when I come through, and when you probably saw me play as a under 19 on the cliff, I was really, really fast. And then towards the end of the first season, I had a problem with my groin and pelvis, which resulted in having an operation. And when I come back, I just weren't as quick. I'd sort of lost that half yard, and because I never probably put the effort in I should have done in the gym, and that all I ever wanted to do was play football, so I didn't really do the other stuff enough. So I was never the same player really to go or had that special quality that can get you in the door of a world-class team.
So do you think you were half worried about being too good then? Do you think you was half worried about being too good to be one of the superstars who played at Man United for 10 years?
I don't know. I can't say I ever thought about that. I don't think I would have been comfortable with it.
So you don't think you'd have ever got to the point where it was just the norm?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I ever would have. No.
So do you think becoming a footballer stop you becoming a good footballer? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Becoming the footballer, the character, the superstar, stop you becoming the best footballer as a player that you could have been.
Because bear in mind, there's a lot of people coming through now who love that side of it more than the actual football. They love the.
I play for Man U.
I play football. Yeah, I'm a footballer. I love the walking around the Trafford Centre getting noticed, and love the materialistic things.
Yeah, it's hard to answer that really. I'm not sure, because I wouldn't like to say it ever held me back on the pitch. What I was what I was. I mean, I'm saying that because I had that operation. I weren't as fast. I still. Nothing to say if I was as fast. I mean, I only played 30 odd games throughout my time there, so there's nothing to say if I was really quick. I still would have got past David Beckham and played regularly. It's hard. I wouldn't imagine that would have happened, to be honest with you, but I don't know. It's hard to.
What were the big hitters like with the young lads coming through, like the Keane and that?
Like Roy Keane was an incredible captain with everyone. Like obviously he drove standards like so much in training in that respect. If you weren't on it, he'd tell you. If it was tough, if he was on it, he'd rather not be on his team in a small sided, because if you weren't on it, you could get told all sorts. But he looked after all the young lads. Like, he was an incredible captain, incredible man.
Did he ever have an off day? Did you ever think, fucking hell, he's having a bad day, Roy?
In terms of sometimes he'd give the ball away a bit more than other days, but he'd never have an off day in terms of he weren't 100% committed and working as hard as he can.
It's hard to argue with him when that's the case, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't say you tossed it off last week or when he's always...
Yeah.
And I think if you are a leader like that, you have to be on it all the time because obviously you're going to get that thrown back in your face.
Were they close, Sir Alex and Keane, in terms of that captain-manager relationship?
I think they just had the right blend where Roy would be in charge of the dressing room when the manager weren't in there, and he'd drive standards. But even then, if you were training out at Carrington, training would be at an incredible tempo, but as soon as you looked over your shoulder and saw the manager come out, he used to raise another 5-10% just by people seeing that he was coming out to watch training.
Because it's just all gone sour now.
Them two, yeah.
You know, he's made a few choice comments, hasn't he, about...
Just let it go, Roy, I think.
I don't know if he's just doing that for his new career and his new persona
being
that way out.
Controversial.
So what did the manager...
Luke's keeping quiet. He's at MUTV regular now. Doesn't want to throw anybody under the bus.
So how often would the manager be out then for training? When you said sometimes he'd come out.
He'd be out every day, but sometimes it'd sort of come out a bit later. So whoever the coaches were, Steve McLaren or Carlos Quiros, would be doing part of the session, and the manager might come out a bit later. But when he did come out later, the standard would go from incredible to just through the roof.
Yeah.
We used to be buzzing when the gaffer wasn't in. You know, like on a Tuesday morning or
Roy
something.
Keane?
Just any manager. If the manager's not in, it's like a thingy teacher at school, innit? Supply teacher.
Yeah. Well, we can take it easy today, lads.
Yeah, a little bit. What's the biggest bollocking you saw him give?
To me,
just in general.
There was a few where he'd sort of... I think, to be fair, when I was in, he'd sort of calmed a bit from what he was in his early days at the club. I mean, I'll tell you a story. We had a Christmas do, and it was a Tuesday night. We had to have it because obviously there's so many games around that time. But there was a reserve game on the Wednesday, and I was playing in the reserves, and it was made clear no reserve players were to go out. So I was desperate to go out. So I said to a couple of lads, what we'll do, I'll just go out, but I'll say that I drove out and I was just driving you boys around, so you didn't get taxis or anything like that. So I went out, and then that night there was a bit of a scuffle, there was a bit of friction, there was some fights going on and that sort of thing at the Christmas do. Went back in the next day, and the manager was going mad, and he'd seen me, and he said, you were out, 2 weeks' wages. Like, he'd lost his head. And it was the same day that every season at Man United they have a Christmas dinner. So the staff serve the food to the players. So the manager was going around, and he saw me, and he had a bowl of soup in his hands. And he slammed it down on the table. He said, "That's the most expensive bowl of soup you'll ever eat."
So what are you drinking?
Yeah. So yeah, that was one. I'd say there's another story. There was one time where I just broke into the team. I didn't get told off about this because I told a little white lie to get myself out of it.
Sometimes you've got to.
So I was just come back from Belgium, and I got quite an addictive personality, and I got myself addicted to watching Big Brother.
I've been rehab for months.
Big Brother 2's on. I don't know if anyone remembers this.
You got as deep as Big Brother 2.
Brian Dowling was the eventual winner of it. So, on E4, they used to have the live feed. And I've somehow got myself into a routine of just watching it through the night. Like, most of the time, all the contestants are asleep. I'm just watching, just in case someone says something controversial. So what's happened is, I'm watching it till about, 3, 4 in the morning. I got in a bad place with Big Brother. My girlfriend at the time was working at the airport, so she was working shift. She come home and said, "Luke, what are you doing?" I said, "What are you on about?" It was 10:30. I should have been at training half an hour ago, and I just overslept. And I absolutely shit myself. So what I had to do, I phoned my mum up. I said, Mum, you're going to have to phone up Carrington and say Hayley, my missus, has had a fall.
So you've even got your mum to lie.
I've got my mum, and I've said I've had to take Hayley. So I thought it's all going to blow over. Got in the next day. Unbelievably, the first person I see is the gaffer. He goes, how's your girlfriend? Is she all right? I went, yeah, she just fell on her wrist. I said, it's not broken or anything like that. But then I couldn't drive at the time, so Miss had to take me everywhere. So at games for the next 3 weeks, I used to make her wear a tubing grip on her so we could stick to the story. And so the most scared I've ever been.
I can't believe you were up till 4 o'clock watching people sleep on
watching Brian Dowling fart.
Occasionally, you'd hear a fart and you'd be like,
well, it was worth it. It was worth stopping up.
Worthwhile.
Imagine that. So, Gaffer, I've had to go to Priory. Why? I can't stop watching Big Brother. The month when it's on, just check his head into Priory.
Yeah.
It's done as that.
we had a few stories about Greening. So he was saying he was the...
Jeff on it.
Was it Jeff?
Jeff Horsfield, yeah.
Said he was he wasn't the brightest spark, should we say?
I can't remember. He's a lovely, lovely lad. I remember that. He was such a nice boy. But I can't remember. I ain't really got no stories about Jono.
You thought there was two sons or something?
Yeah, and he tried putting a mirror up by knocking
really?
a nail through it.
Through the actual glass.
I'm still done from the tubey grip.
It's like the one when I said I had a car crash in it and I had to take the missus' car in for 2 weeks because mine was in garage.
Are you on the Love Island then? Are you addicted to that?
I'm trying to wean myself off it. I'll get too into it, Chris.
It's killing you.
It's too emotional.
There's 2 a year on that. It's killing you.
Who was the most talented player at United while you were there?
I think everyone says the same. Paul Scholes was so, like, he could just do everything. Like, the way he could strike a ball, he could dominate a possession session. He could just play one touch and still look head and shoulders. Obviously, all the players were incredible, but he just seemed to have a little, like, eyes in the back of his head. He was incredible player.
You know when Ronaldo come in? No,
I think they bought him in to replace me. Yeah, I never talk about it. We had similar attributes. To
be fair though, Scholes is a bit like the way that you were, isn't he? Because he just totally blanked the other side of it.
Yeah.
From his life, didn't he? Really?
Never did interviews or out, did he?
Nah.
No celebrity lifestyle.
So obviously it's possible to be that superstar and just totally disengage from it when you're away from the pitch.
Yeah.
On the flip side, was there anybody there? You know, that signed Jemba and all that. Was that your era? Kleberson and all that.
That was. I remember I went on tour to America with a club when Jemba had just signed, but that was sort of. I was just on my way out permanently then, so I didn't spend much time with Kleberson or Jemba.
Because he signed some gold, didn't he? But he also signed some shite. No? You've all gone quiet there.
Jemba.
Kleberson. There was that Bebby. I think that was after your time.
There's a few big names that come in that, like Veron and Forlan, that never really produced to match the price as well. I know what you're saying about the younger lads. That
if you're signing 10 players, they're not all going to come in and be incredible, are they?
No.
You're going to have a couple of shy along the way, aren't you?
I had the pleasure of training and playing with Veron a couple of times, and although he never really set the Premier League alight, he was incredible.
Yeah.
Like in training sessions and that, he had so much talent.
Why didn't he make them?
I don't know. It's just he likes a little bit more time on the ball. I think when he's really effective in international football, he seems to drop off as that real deep line midfielder and sort of find passes from there. I don't know if it was all going on around him too much in the Premier League.
Too quick for him.
Yeah, it's hard to say because, like, the talent he had, he could stand out in that Man United team.
Was he at his peak as well when he signed for United, or was he getting on a bit?
I think he was sort of 28, 29, I believe. I think he was that sort of age.
Were there any arseholes where you just thought, you're just a dick?
No. No, I don't like Man United. I couldn't say that. I think the way that people were recruited a lot was because of how they were as people as well, just as much as footballers. I can't think now and say I didn't like him. I genuinely can't.
You'd imagine that from Ferguson, though, knowing a character. I can't imagine he'd bring somebody in that would already have a bit of swagger and.
Unless you like Cantona.
Yeah. True, that's a good example, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just fucking blowing you out of water, isn't it? Well, the last 10 seconds, what you've just said is he's just been
absolute shit.
That'll be getting cut from the audio. That won't make the audio.
Yeah, he never signed anybody with any edge apart from that Cantona bloke that he signed.
But I suppose like extraordinary talent like that. You making exceptions, didn't you?
Yeah, he weren't bad.
I think he affected the group there in a positive way of setting the standards. I think he speaks a lot about how his preparation and that for games. I think Cantona going there was something that really pushed them, that sort of tipping point that put United into a position where they were the top team in the country for so many years.
It was needed.
Did you when you signed for Reading and you moved on, did you regret anything? You said about being in the gym, you didn't do all your work and stuff and whatever. Was there anything that you look back and thought,
I shouldn't have watched a series 2 of Big Brother?
No regrets about Big Brother. No, to be honest, the only regret I've got in my life is not doing school properly and getting good qualifications at school. Like my whole football career, like, don't get me wrong, there's loads of ups and downs, some great moments, some not so good moments, but I've loved it. I wouldn't change anything from my football career, I don't think. I'm happy to have been a footballer and I've lived the dream for 17, 18, 19 years, whatever it was. And got
a Premier League winners' medal along the way.
Where is it? Where is your medal?
It's at home. It's just sort of tucked away in a drawer.
I was hoping you were just going to pull it out your pocket. There it is, Chris.
You sometimes see it on a...
unzip the jacket.
The only time you'd probably see me with it on is Vodka Revolution in Cambridge on a Saturday night.
Only where it's Saturdays in Vodka Rev.
Out of all them players, who was the biggest wind-up, the biggest character amongst them all?
I think Man United, Giggsy and Butty were the characters. They'd always be playing jokes and that sort of thing. They were the funny lads, really funny lads.
There must have been stories that somehow got swept under the carpet. You don't have to tell them, but there must have been like stories within the group where so and so's done this, and we all need to keep it quiet. You know what I mean? Like the Christmas dues and the same as you said about the scuffling and stuff like that.
I just gave you the biggest scoop about Haley's wrist. I'm sure there was, but it's got nothing to do with
me. When it came to leaving them, were you sad to be going, or did you feel you had more to give at United?
No, I think my time there was up. I was sort of quite pleased to get away. I'll come to sign for West Ham when I've left there permanently, so I was back down south, living back at home in Cambridge with my family. My missus had our first child then, so it was good to be back in my local area. I think I was it was definitely my time to leave. There was nothing left to give.
Was there a bit of relief then that it was a kind of realisation that you weren't going to be a superstar?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a drawn out process because my last couple of years at United I was sort of on loan, so I weren't really in and amongst the first team anyway, so it was sort of a prolonged period of exit process, as it were, and it just sort of came to an end.
Who signed you at West Ham?
Alan Pardew. He was the same at Reading and West Ham.
Because he hasn't really popped up, has he? I know Sammy spoke a bit about him, but how did you get on with him?
He was a really good manager, knew how to speak to people, got the best out of people, good systems that he set his teams up with. It's incredible how he come back at West Ham, where it's a real tough environment at West Ham when things ain't going well, and the fans had completely turned on the team, on him, and the way he come back and got them promoted that season is something that I've never seen before from a manager. To come back from that sort of pressure and then deliver promotion was incredible.
Because normally the writing's on the wall, innit? Once
you
the fans
sort of
go.
know. Yeah, you sort of know when it's going to happen. But
I can't remember. So were they struggling then during the season? Then they've gone on a run or something.
Yeah, we sort of slipped back down to mid-table, and then I think ended up just getting the last playoff spot before playing Ipswich in the semi-finals, who finished third, and then beating them, and then beating. It was at Cardiff the final, beating Preston. Bobby Zamora scored to get up to the Premier League.
Did you play?
No.
You're back in the Prem then, with West Ham?
Back in the Prem for probably 2 weeks. And then, and then I went off to Stoke on loan. The West Ham signed Yossi Benayoun. I don't know if you remember, Israeli international, and he played in the same position. And again, story of my life. Unfortunately, he was a lot better than me at football. So I ended up going up to Stoke
with Tony Pulis.
Tony Pulis. No, I went up there with Johan Boskamp, who was a Belgian manager.
Oh, so I think
we've had loads of people asking about him. Was he a wrong one?
He was a big guy, like a big in size and big personality. He actually knew me. He signed me because he knew me from my days when I was on loan at Antwerp. I think he was manager at Genk at the time, who I played against a couple of times. And it was all good to start with, but then it all sort of kicked off between him and another Belgian guy who was assistant manager. And it got to a point where they didn't talk to each other. So there was a go-between the manager and the assistant. It all just got a bit crazy. I don't know, you know John Rudge?
Yes,
Rudgy, absolutely brilliant guy. He was in charge, but he didn't know what to do. So in the end, both of them went, and then Tony Pulis come back in, and I mean, what a guy he is.
Yeah. Did them two come together then? Did he bring them as
together?
assistant?
Yeah, they brought them in together. But then something, I don't know what it was that happened, but they just fell out and they just wouldn't speak to each other. They'd have to speak to them both separately. If you're speaking to the assistant, you have to see the manager weren't coming. Yeah, it was a real strange situation.
That's mad, isn't it? The assistant manager and the manager's not on speaking.
There's no relationship. So they were obviously friends to start with, then there was this no relationship.
I wonder what went on.
God knows.
Were you at Burnley for a bit before that as well?
In terms of banter, Burnley was, without a doubt, the best season I've ever had in football. They had Stan Turnant, who was in charge, and he was an incredible character. Sam Ellis was the assistant, and again, he was a great guy. And then there was the likes of Glenn Little, Robbie Blake, Tony Grant. Great. It was just Ian Moore. It was just a great squad, and it was just it was a proper old school. Like, we'd go down to London and we'd get some beers on the coach on the way. But the proper lads, boys would have beers. I'd have a couple of bottles of WKD. It was just a real
Smirnoff Ice if you won.
Yeah, it was a real fun season. I mean, we just escaped relegation.
So it weren't successful, but it was fucking good.
We went on like a in-season trip to Marbella, and it just turned into absolute chaos where we'd have to meet up at 7 for a jog up and down the beach, and then we're just free for the rest of the day. And it was carnage, I think the word.
Did you go there from United then? Excuse me, on loan?
So that was a season-long loan. So I come back from Antwerp and was at Man U. Then I went on loan for 3 months to Reading. Then when I come back from there, I went on a season-long loan to Burnley, and then from Burnley to West Ham to Stoke.
So did going to Burnley bring you out your shell a bit?
Yeah,
socially and stuff?
Definitely, because obviously it was more, you're not involved with world-class players. It was a bit more relaxed and that sort of thing, so definitely.
You feel more comfortable there?
I think, like Chris, I just come out my shell a bit, and I was just a bit more. I remember I got my hair bleached white when I was there. I think that's one of the reasons. I didn't get it done very expensively. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm bald now. I think it burned straight through my scalp. But I got my hair bleached white, and Stan was big mates with the gaffer, the manager, Sir Alex. And then he goes, I'm going to tell him. He goes, I'm going to tell him what you've done to your hair. He's like, I said, just leave it, Stan. I said, no need to tell anyone anything.
You don't think he would have noticed on telly or something?
He come through, he goes, he's on the phone, he wants to speak to you. And I thought, oh no. So he goes, what the fucking hell have you done? And I didn't know what to do. I thought, I'm going to have to go back to the hairdressers, get him to dye it back to the normal colour.
Imagine that, you're on loan and the Sir Alex Ferguson's giving you a bollocking because you've had your hair
Over the
dyed.
phone as well, yeah.
What the fuck have you done?
Yeah.
I can't imagine Sir Alex having beers on the buzz on the way home.
No, there was nothing like that there. We used to have a Marks and Spencer's pizza in the oven at the back.
Oh, Marks and Spencer's.
Nothing but the best.
So that must have been complete, like, a shock to the system. Getting to Burnley, stand turn and have a few beers, boys.
Yeah,
Done well.
it was completely different. It's all part of. I wouldn't say I loved it any more than enjoyment of playing football at Man United. It's just all part of a different experience. I think the whole journey, innit? You just go on a journey, didn't you, throughout your career?
You can see why he's probably enjoyed it more at Burnley, though.
Yeah.
For that reason, a bit more relaxed. You can get the beers on the bus and
You can
better
get away with stuff, can't you?
yeah.
More, I would have thought.
And they're just more normal people, like Blakey and I don't know Glenn Little, but I'm guessing they're just good lads.
Oh, great lad.
So you can tell there's something behind the great lads. Yeah, great lads.
Keep that for the unedited version.
Got a drink? But, we've heard a few stories about Tony Pulis. And, what's the word?
Is he on the list of? Is he on the
Oh, he's not on the
Enigma 8? No,
No, he's good as
Didn't
gold.
quite make it.
Good as gold.
you're not really fighting his corner to get him in there.
No, because that list of managers there, all the arseholes,
No,
aren't
there's
there?
some good ones in there.
Oh,
Holloway's in there.
yeah, we'll make it a 9 then with TP.
Get him in there.
Yeah.
Any word to go with 9?
Nah, so I was struggling. I was struggling.
Use that one that you use, the necrophiliac one. The necrophiliac 9. We probably can't use that.
No, I don't think we can.
We can't
I don't think we
we
can.
can't refer to him as a necrophiliac 9.
How did you find his training and that?
It was tough. Like it was quite I don't know if you probably
Boring.
agree. Yeah, it's quite regimented,
Yeah.
but similar to Sir Alex Ferguson in a way where you'd want to run through a brick wall for the man.
Yeah.
He was an incredible person. He'd look after you as a man more than a footballer, I think. He'd always try and do the right thing by you. And if you worked hard for him, he'd go out his way to do anything for you, that's for sure.
Did you move over?
I just moved briefly and never really settled there. So I ended up moving home, and then I'd just travel up a couple of times a week and have a flat in Newcastle under Lyme.
It's probably the same question to you, really. Do you know, like, if you did that, you were doing the drive every day, but then you moved up. Did you notice a difference in your performances when you're away from your family and stuff?
No, I didn't really notice a difference in performance. I think it generally, as the time goes on, it just generally gets the better of you mentally, just knowing what you got to do. The travelling just becomes too much, or you're staying away from home too much, and you're just trying to get that right balance of being a husband and a father first and a footballer, but obviously it's putting it all together, and it's not always that easy.
So it never bothered me, the travelling. I just to see it as part of my day.
But on the flip side, when you moved to Cardiff, could that be a reason why you didn't do so well down there? Because you were
No,
away
because I was
from...
shite and then I never
it
played.
But why was that a contributing factor?
What, that I was away from home?
Yeah.
Nah, when I went Cardiff, I went as a sub. You know what I mean? I was sub when Jay Bullfroy were injured. I was going to play, so I never really got an opportunity. Moving over to me would meant no difference whichever club I'd have been at. I don't think.
So when you're at Stoke, then is it all the family in Cambridge?
Yeah, they moved back down. We did have a little place in Alton, where Alton Towers is. So I can't believe I didn't like it there. It's perfect.
You'd have been addicted to the rides, wouldn't you? We're going on again. We're going on again. Dad, can we just leave it? We're going on again.
Chadwick's not turning into training again. 7 times on Nemesis.
Mr. Chadwick, this is the 14th time you've been on the ride consecutively.
Yeah, we had a lovely place there, but then we all moved back, and then I'd just travel up. I did like Stoke was a really good club. It just weren't feasible at the time in terms of I wanted to be around my young family, and it was just too much travelling.
Who's there? Jerry Taggart, though? Because we've had him on.
No.
Yeah, he was.
Was he?
Yeah, he was just sort of doing a bit of coming to the end of his playing career and
Yeah.
doing a bit of coaching, but he was there. Dave Brammer was there. Steve Simonson mentioned earlier.
Simo.
Michael Dewberry, John Halls, Peter Sweeney. It was a good group of lads there. Really enjoyable.
Did you ever get the Tony, how's the family? You know, when you're getting dropped, you always love that one.
Arm round.
Parky, how's the family? You know, I know I'm not playing tomorrow. The family's fine. I'll be up. I'm no problem. I'll be up bench again.
Funny you should say that. I got that every Friday after training.
I think he's very concerned about my family.
So they're fine, Tony. Just let me play.
Exactly the same as they were last week. Is there any chance I can play tomorrow? That was his one. Parky, how's the family? Oh, I'm not fucking playing. But great guy.
Yeah, proper Pulish strikers. There's Akinbaye there and Kenwyn Jones.
No, it was after.
No,
I think it was after that.
That's after me, Kenwyn Jones.
Is it?
Yeah, that's when they're up.
Sidibe
was there, yeah. And
Ricardo?
Sammy Bangura. I know, but he was incredible in the air. He only played about 16 games. I think he scored about 18 goals.
Fucking hell.
I don't know if Mamadi still works there. I went up for a youth game with a Cambridge lot and I saw him up there. I don't know if he's doing an agency or something.
He's still in the area, like he's still living in Stoke.
So Norwich after that. Are you already there?
No, Chaddy was already there.
Just give it a second.
If you can hear somebody screaming in the background, it's not the cameraman Matty. It's there's a baby in the other room. Just shit its pants.
So are you already at Norwich when?
No, Chaddy, I don't know when you signed, but you were there before me, weren't you?
Yeah, I signed probably about 2-3 months before Chris. I signed on loan.
So not too far before.
No, I went.
Yeah.
I signed on loan from Stoke, and I played my debut against Ipswich in like the East Anglian derby.
The big one.
Scored at Portman Road for happy days. End of the game, I remember getting shoved in the back, gone off the pitch. I went, I'm winded here. Sort of got rid of that pain. My shoulder had popped out as well. So I'm trying to get my shoulder back in the joint. Adam Drury come over and said, don't look down. So I made me look down. I could just see the bone sticking out my knee. I got in there. So it was a great debut, but turned into a night. I ended up being in hospital for 3 nights at Ipswich. They thought the knee was infected. It was a terrible start to my Norwich career. And after that, I never really got myself fit enough to get going. I remember also getting the old stretcher bearers were there. And they sort of half tipped me and I was coming off the stretcher and I was like gripping on. I was like upside down. Yeah.
Is Norwich travelable from here then, or did you move to Norwich?
No, I travelled from Norwich. It's not. It wasn't a great journey, but it's a lot more manageable than Stoke. When I signed there, thought it was a little bit closer than what it was. Really.
You've not done the Google Maps?
No.
For fuck's sake.
I think early doors from speaking to you, because I think that's when I knew about the Cambridge, that you're a bit of a home bird. You just wanted to play for Cambridge.
Yeah, I've always wanted to. I am a bit, and most players that play with me will probably say the same thing, I am a bit strange. I'm not the typical footballer. So but my dream was always to play for Cambridge. I always used to... when I was a kid, I used to put the Cambridge kit on and just go out in the garden or in the living room and just fantasise for playing for Cambridge for hours on end. It was mad. Like I say, I'm pretty weird.
Not Man U were out now, it's Cambridge.
But that was always my dream. And obviously at Norwich, Dion Dublin was there as well at the time, and he was like one of my big heroes when I was a kid. So it was like a dream come true to be in the same squad as Dion, and of course Chris in his own little way.
I enjoyed my time there though.
It is a brilliant football club. Like I say, when I went there, I was on loan and got this like quite a serious injury on my debut and never really come back for another 9-10 months, but they still stuck by what they said and signed me even though they didn't have to because I was on loan here. Although I never really got anything going at Norwich personally, it is a fantastic football club. I don't know if you'd agree. They look after people properly there.
Were you there when Rhoda came in? We spoke. I don't know if you kept it in the semi one. Were you there? Did Rhoda come in when you were there?
Yeah, he was there when I was there.
Was that the briefcase moment?
Yeah, we spoke about his first meeting last week.
Oh,
when he chucked his briefcase in the corner.
Come open and nothing in it.
He was stupid there because he had John Hartson at West Ham. And straight away, John just, as soon as he walked out the door, that's not in.
No, yeah.
So we lost. I think
Just put on
everyone.
a new persona.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real struggle them years that we were there. That the club never. It was always a struggle, weren't it? We never got any sort of momentum together to get a run of results.
Good social life. Well, we had a couple of nights out, didn't we? You stayed up a couple of times.
In and around Norwich.
Yeah, because I lived a fair distance away, when I come up from Cambridge and I stayed over, there might be in a game or something, I'd either stay at Chris's or Gary Dockerty's house, because they were the two single lads that had nice places. There was after one incident where I decided that I'd always stay at Gary Dockerty's house. I was staying at Chris's, and I was in the spare room. He was playing his computer, whatever he does, with his earphones on, talking to whoever from wherever. And then it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, got myself to sleep. So I had the door open. Then I'm sort of open one eye, and Brownie's just stood there. And I'm thinking, what on earth's happening here? And then all of a sudden he just turns and walks back out again. And he tells me the next morning he's got a history of sleepwalking. Every time I stayed at his house after that, I'd wedge my bed against the door so it was impossible for anyone to get in. I've never been so scared in my life.
You introduced us to peanut butter and jam.
Well, I've just been away to America and I like sampling different cuisines from all over the world.
Honestly, just lathered.
Peanut butter and jam.
It is
That's
nice.
right. He's decent.
Are you addicted to it?
No, it's like the Big Brother. I weaned myself.
Did you come across the Norwich twins? They've popped up a few times.
No, he's twins.
I don't remember them. Identical twins. Well, I say identical. One's a Norwich fan, one's an Ipswich fan. And they always used to get in the VIP upstairs.
I think I vaguely remember. Yeah.
They used to turn out in the Under Armour skin tight things.
I do think I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some strange folk. Same dance. You used to have to just bob the head in the middle of the dance floor.
Different shirts on.
Yeah. One had a white Under Armour, the other one had a black one.
You just take it in turns, flip it for the week after.
But you'd always see them together, but when they fell out, one would walk 5 yards in front of the other and just march about the town.
Where is that place we always used to go?
Mercy,
the VIP.
upstairs.
Yeah. Oh, great days.
Well, you must have been out for a while then with a knee.
Yeah, I think it was a good 9 months before I got myself properly fit. It was a strange one because it was like a cut and they stitched it all back up then, but then the swelling wouldn't go down for months on end. It was a nightmare. If you get a cruciate or an injury like that, you sort of know the time span of how you're going to get back, because it was just a waiting game really, because the swelling just didn't ever seem to go down.
So the bone actually come out.
It just opened up, like the skin is open. You could just see the. But I don't know if you remember the doc at Norwich as well, and he was like trying to stitch it back up, and the old needle and thread was all over the place.
Very pissed.
Yeah.
So how long did you do at Norwich?
I reckon I was probably there about 18 months all in. Something about 18 months to 2 years, but probably only played about 20 odd games altogether there. I think it was a real spell of being on the sidelines and not playing much football.
So you were happy when MK come in?
Well, I was at a stage then where I'd sort of spoke to my agent and said, sort of hand-picked, said, can you speak to MK because it's so close to my house, lovely stadium.
Is that what it came down to at the end of the day?
Yeah.
The thing is, that's what happens though. When you get to a certain age, you just get us.
I want something
reasonable,
drivable.
Yeah. You're getting closer to Cambridge.
Yeah, exactly. And it was so, it was obviously brand new. I just quite like the idea of it. Saw the stadium on the TV, looked incredible. And MK I had a brilliant time. Probably the longest I spent in my career where I was fit most of the time. And really enjoyed myself at Milton MK Dons. It was a fantastic time.
Was it 5 years?
6 seasons, I think I was there, yeah.
Play with Alan Smith?
Smudgy, yeah, Smithy was there. He was there for probably a season and a half while I was there. I used to play with, obviously he signed for Man United just as I was leaving, and we played a few games together in the Young England teams as well.
He's done well, hasn't he?
I just got a bit dead there, didn't I?
You keep smirking when we're talking about people. I'm saying he's got more to offer here.
Smithy, he'd go out of that, but he never didn't drink teetotal.
I was going to say.
At all.
I saw him in Dublin when he was at Newcastle, and he had a woolen cardigan on, woolen hat.
He looked a bit
drinking
like...
a tea. Were you there?
Yeah, he looked a bit like Kenny off South Park, didn't he? He had a big hood and all.
Drinking tea.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever drunk.
He lost us then.
Yeah, I've not been a big fan of him since then.
Paul Ince manager?
Paul Ince, yeah. He was... Paul Ince used to be one of my favourite players growing up, so I was absolutely...
Never meet your heroes?
No, I loved him. I think it was trouble with Paul Ince. With Ince was that he used to join in training, and it's probably similar. I think I've heard the stories about Zola. He was so much better than the rest of us, and I think that sort of frustrated him a bit. That people, the first session he ever took, he joined in. We were playing small-sided games, and he was about to take a shot, and I come sliding in from nowhere and absolutely wiped him out. And I thought, oh, what have I done? And he's just lying there, and I thought, I've hurt him. And he turned, sort of rolled over. He's got a big grin on his face. He went, I fucking love that. He just, training was real. He just loved it being a battle, everything like that. He was, I loved him. I think his standards were probably so high for lower league clubs. Because maybe because he was such a world-class player.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one story with Paul Ince. We was playing Gillingham, and they went down to 10 men, and we still ended up. We drew 2-2, and Jermaine Easter had missed a easy chance. Being the gaffer was going into one after the game, saying my daughter could have scored that, and Jermaine kept saying, "We'll get her in then." And the gaffer lost his head and said, right, you lot outside. So we all went and stood outside until he was changed, went back in. Then we went into training on Monday morning. The kit man had a little tiny kid's top made up and it said number 8 Ince on it, like a kid's one, and put it in Jermaine's place.
Was there a... let's just check my notes.
This here?
Just checking my notes.
Dear John.
Huddersfield v MK in a playoff game. Was there a big scrap?
That was everyone run on they won the semi-final and everyone ran on the pitch after the game, like their fans. And I think a few of the lads got a couple of digs.
Did you get involved?
No, because I sprinted straight off.
But the fastest you moved all game.
Yeah, I was in the dressing room when the final whistle went, looking out the window. What's happening out there? Yeah, I think Smudge actually was involved in that. I think Smudge got. A few people tried to give him a whack. I'm pretty sure he would have given him a whack back.
Yeah. Wilbraham would have been there. He's been on.
Yeah,
Semi last week.
Yeah, a good bunch. Albie was a great lad. He loved organising stuff like nights out and that sort of thing. He was big on that. But he was real good in the dressing room. Good player to have in the dressing room. Semi as well. Good lad.
Were you playing the game with the heel of God?
Yeah, against Wimbledon when he scored. Yeah, he turned himself into a legend in Wimbledon that day. Stuck his ball. I swear to God he didn't mean it.
He killed himself because he said that he didn't mean it.
Yeah,
he should have claimed it.
Claim it,
but he said,
it did look on the TV. It looks like a world class finish. Like he did mean it, but I don't know.
Where'd someone ask about Paul Slane? Were you there with him?
I think he come on loan real briefly.
Said that the gaffer wasn't having him, but he just kept him around because of his crack. Apparently, he was going around the place or something.
People make careers off that.
Yeah, I don't know if this is dead air, but I generally don't remember.
He wasn't that memorable.
I remember he was he's a decent winger. He was quick, but I don't remember any. I mean, I used to leave directly after training, so I probably don't know much what happened.
Did Bullard go there for a bit?
Jimmy Bullard coming.
Excuse me.
He, I think he was struggling a lot with his knees at the time. You can still see that he was he'd been a fine player, but I think he was just.
You almost said world class then, didn't you? And then reel back.
No.
Fine player.
It's not all about you. This shut up.
They're very good. I think he's just really struggling with his knees at that stage.
Did he come in and what you thought he would be? Was a character?
Yeah, probably. Well, I remember the lads saying they went out on a night out because they had the darts at Stadium MK, so they were going to go for a few beers and do that. And Jimmy could get in someone's head if he started bantering someone and that was them done for the night because you know that he'd be
ruin
on,
them.
Yeah, and we had a big centre half Scottish guy called Gary McKenzie, and he said early doors Jimmy started having saying stuff about his jumper. So Gary said, well, it was just going to ruin my night, so he just got a taxi home, got changed, then come back out.
Nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the bud early doors.
Where did you collapse?
As Vodka Revolution on Saturday. No, yeah, that was a scary at Stoke. We was playing Southend on the first day of the season. It was boiling hot, and that week we'd had these nutrition people come in where we were getting all, the protein, all different stuff, we had about 5 different drinks that we were to drink at different times. So on the night before the game, I was sort of being sick in the hotel in Southend. I don't know if it was one of the stuff I'd taken, and then in the warm-up I was being sick, and then it was boiling hot that day, and then I was just running around. At half-time, everyone's saying, your face looks so red, bordering on purple red. And I just went back out for the second half, and then I don't remember, the next thing I know, I was in an ambulance. I sort of passed out. They'd done all tests on my heart and all that sort of thing, but the heart was all fine. So I think it was dehydration. But I said it's real strange to be dehydrated and be sort of passed out for, I think it was 11, 12 minutes or something. So
I vaguely remember it. That nutrition drinks.
I'll tell you, mate, they give you so much shit in that. It's all bollocks. It really is all bollocks.
I like just chucking the grenade in his direction and let them go off.
It's fucking crap. Just water. You're right with water and Jaffa cakes and jelly babies.
Jaffa cakes.
So no diagnosis, nothing, just,
They just said
you must have been thirsty.
dehydration, yeah, a little bit thirsty.
You run about that much first half.
I was in the hospital overnight, and then I went back up to Stoke Sunday night, and we were playing Derby at home on Tuesday, and a gaffer pulled me in.
Tony
pulled me in and said, I really want you to play. And I said, all right. And I played. And I got an elbow in the head after about 7 minutes. I had all pissing blood out the side of my head. And then the doctor had to say I'd had a terrible start to the season.
That's just typically him.
Yeah.
I know you've collapsed and you've been at it for
But
11 minutes.
that's him as well, because he'd said it to you, you think, because you've asked it, I'm going to have to play now.
You're unconscious for 11 minutes on the Saturday.
Yeah.
You spent a night in hospital, but you couldn't play for me, could you?
Yeah.
Yeah, no bother, Tone, no problem.
All right, so you said that Luke was one of the lowest maintenance players
Yeah.
you play with. Not
Yeah.
asked.
No.
Night out.
Just everything. His physique was horrific.
I've got one of the best calls in football.
Every day he'd get his top off and just have a tense up. His little derby. Funny. But yeah, no. Like similar to Brett. Just no airs and graces.
Get on with it.
Turn up. Doesn't speak. Goes home.
Turn up, play shit.
So were you successful at MK then? Is that when did you get from League 1, League 2 to League 1?
No, the whole time I was there, we were in League 1. We sort of were around the playoffs most seasons, but never got promoted. And then I think it was, and this usually happens, it's strange, I don't know if it's sort of a pattern that materialises. The season after I left, the team gets promoted again. And then, Carl Robinson, it was Roberto Di Matteo who brought me in, then Paul Ince, then Carl Robinson, and he was done really well, to be fair, a real good young coach.
You must have been doing well. Did Ince not go from there to Blackburn?
Yeah.
So Paul Ince left the first time. They won the Johnson's Paint Trophy, and they got promoted. Then he went to Blackburn. When I was with him, he come back for a second spell at MK and weren't as successful the second time round.
What's Di Matteo like?
It's really
told us about him before.
Somebody didn't like him, did they?
Yeah. Felt that he left with a bit of a cut, didn't say bye to the players or anything. Just
It'd been Aaron then, wouldn't it? I think we've only had Wilbur.
I think it was, aye.
Who's been at MK, haven't we?
Yeah, when he left, he just...
Yeah, he was real quiet. Didn't say too much. Tactically, as you can imagine, quite really astute. Eddie Newton was with him, the old Chelsea player. He'd done a lot of the training and that. But he was quite like one of them managers, like a foreign manager. He's a bit standoffish, doesn't really build huge relationships, like close relationships with the players. But I always found him fine.
That must be difficult to make a success of, though, being standoffish. Especially when you've worked with the likes of Sir Alex and other managers. That a manager that's standoffish. Surely that's not a recipe for success.
It's different management styles, though, isn't it? Everyone is different.
That might be more of a foreign thing as well. That might be how it is wherever he's played. He's obviously played under a lot of foreign managers, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it is more of sort of the foreign coaches are more like that. You don't mind saying that. You see Klopp and Guardiola, and they're real sort of close to the players.
Are they? Do you think they've been doing any good, Klopp and Guardiola?
Have you still got a fine collection of watches?
I know where you're going with it. Yeah, so in my time at Norwich, we was treated like pop stars round on the local scene.
Pop stars.
And I had a couple of watches I got from Dubai, like fake ones. I had I don't know if Chris might have a photo of one. A fake Jacob. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like one that the rapper had wear. It weren't even colour, it was full diamond. Every single part. I mean, I was so weak, I could never lift my hand up to look at it. I just held me down there. But I'd always make an appearance on a night out in Norwich.
The amount of pictures I've got. And he might not even be in the picture. He'll be somewhere in the background. You just see him like that, lifting his thing up.
And they want to snide from Dubai.
Yeah, I couldn't afford it. It cost about 30 odd grand, I reckon. I got it for $16.99. It done the job.
Full diamond.
Be better off, been worth more scrapping it in.
After Paul Ince left, no, who was it? After Roberto Di Matteo left, was just at the start of the season when he went to West Brom, and we were all booked up to go on a pre-season trip to Portugal at Vale de Lobo. We went out there and it was just all the only people looking at. Well, the coaches were the youth team manager got drafted in, and Paul Mitchell, the ex-player who was head of recruitment, done real well for himself at Red Bull now, and it turned into a bit of a a bit of a jolly up where we'd be out. Where's a place in Portugal near Vale de Lobo? It's got like a strip on it and all that.
I know what you mean.
Quinta del Lago.
It might be, I don't know, but we ended up going there every night. And Albie might have...
Every night.
Albie might have... It was like... But because we was inside an enclosed building, we had to like climb over walls and all that. So, all of us jumped. I was with a lad called Danny Swales.
Centre half?
Centre half, who'd just come back from... Barry, yeah. Just come back from a snapped Achilles. And we were jumping over these walls and jumping 6 feet down. It was bloody a nightmare. Then we got to the club, and I think Albie got a text off the Pete Winkleman's son, Bobby. He goes, "Oh, don't know what's happening. I've just seen Chadwick climbing over a wall." And we were just out there. Like, it was carnage. It was a great trip. But we all we used to do, because the youth team manager and someone else, like, he's a good coach and all that, but everyone was just a bit you know what it's like on pre-season tour, and every day I'd be, you know what you like, moaning at his reffing or whatever, and like by the end of the week he'd just had enough of me. He went, "Why don't you just fuck off?" I said, "Fair enough, you're probably right." Then Paul Ince took over after that. He was the when we got back to England, he was in charge from then on.
So you had to shape up.
Shape up.
How was Winkleman?
He's done so much for Milton Keynes in general, like as a football club analyst. I know people say come.
Keep hearing this, don't we? That he's a really good.
What did he do to make his money?
I think it's something to do with music.
Yeah.
I think he was a music promoter or something. I'm not 100% sure, but he's like a diamond of a fella, like a great man. Like, real looked after the players that come in there, and he's like, he won't throw his money away at the club, but he's done so well to get them from nothing to where they are
really
now.
Do the fans give him stick or not?
I don't think not the MK Dons fans don't, because what he's
fans
just built.
Of every other club give him stick, don't they? Because they feel he took the club away from its roots.
Yeah, there's obviously a massive rivalry with Wimbledon and that sort of thing. Remember, after I'd signed for Cambridge, I was warming up on the bench for Cambridge away against Wimbledon, and I was getting absolute dog's abuse because I used to play for MK, and there's a young lad who was on loan at Cambridge at the time called Sully Kai Kai. I was like stopped in the corner. He's like looked at me with the absolute fear of God in his eyes and went, "What have you done?" The sort of abuse I was getting shouldn't be on the side of a football.
You think you killed someone?
That was the moment then for you, weren't it? After MK Dons,
The prodigal son returns.
Yeah.
Achieving the goal of playing for Cambridge United.
Oh yeah, I actually contacted. That's a strange part of the story. I contacted them, so I spoke to an agent that lives near me, and he got in contact with Jez George, who was the director of football, and I sort of offered my services to them. MK, because obviously I'd worked hard for MK, they looked after me a lot and sent me away with my best wishes. I didn't have long left in me, so I went there sort of halfway through the season and ended up getting promoted that season at Wimbledon. So it was like a dream come true.
Yeah.
I used to say to me missus and kids when we was walking through Cambridge throughout the years, like there was a town also, one day we'll be up there with a trophy with Cambridge United, and it actually it's surreal, really, a real great way to end.
Do you really wanted it that much?
Oh, yeah. Always
You envision yourself at the town hall with a trophy of any description.
every single night.
Sunday afternoon, Dad, can we go play football? No, we're going back down to that town hall. And we're going to stand and visualise what it's going to be like.
So how old were you then when you went to Cambridge?
So I'd probably been 33, 34.
Right.
So yeah, I played some games. I played a little bit in League Two as well. The next year, my last game I ever started in professional football was at Old Trafford in the FA Cup replay. So it was quite.
That must have been a special moment.
Yeah, it was incredible. Because I went up there, and probably the first time I ever went back there as a player, and to go and when I got subbed off at the end, and I got a standing ovation. I didn't even think they'd remember who I was after all that time, but a standing ovation from the whole of Old Trafford, which was obviously something dreams about, like wearing a Cambridge shirt coming off at Old Trafford. It was incredible.
It's brilliant.
Incredible.
That sorted the club out as well, didn't it? It sorted Cambridge out financially for a while.
It did at the time. I'm not sure if the money was spent particularly wisely after that, where it probably could have been invested in better things, but it certainly helped a lot of the time when the club was under a lot of financial constraints.
So were Matt Roberts there then?
Mark Roberts would have been there the year after, so
Right.
after I'd gone. The year after I left. The year after I left, I signed for my mate and played for a team called Soham Town Rangers, which was one of them where you'd get a little brown envelope after the game with a bit of money in it. Which
Get out talks. We've not got any anybody from HMRC in the tax bill.
yeah, we didn't really. I was going to tell a story about that.
If I said to you, you could play 30 games for Man U or 30 games for Cambridge from
200 games for Cambridge.
yeah, what would you rather do?
It's a hard question. Like, I'm fortunate enough to have done both. Like, if you would have asked me as a 6, 7, 8-year-old boy, it would have been to play for Cambridge, because that was the dream all along. What I always dreamed of doing. So to have achieved that, and also I played for Man United, I can't complain really of what I managed to do
mental,
during my career.
So it took you sort of Man United, Burnley, Stoke, Reading, MK, but you finally
Made you way to Cambridge.
all that was just a small
just
to get back to Cambridge.
Honestly, we had a serious conversation. Bear in mind, we were in the championship.
You weren't
Cambridge.
you weren't sleepwalking, were you? You weren't
Yes.
Cambridge would have been in the conference, and you sat us down. I want to play for Cambridge.
I did.
I was like, piss off, Luke. He's like, no, seriously.
Yeah,
and you
I
meant
did.
it, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, that was what I wanted to do.
So your whole journey through football was to get to Cambridge.
No, actually, they let me go when I was 12, like as a School of Excellence player and all that. Didn't get invited back, so
It's usually the other way around.
Yeah.
You start at Cambridge and then your whole journey to get to Man United, but
best off starting at the top and making it.
You didn't say you were strange though, did you?
So it couldn't have ended any better way for you.
It was like, looking back at it now, it was in
Roy the Rovers.
yeah, that sort of
Finish.
thing. It was all like everything that could have happened. Like, to get promoted was amazing, but then to draw Man United in a cup, it was incredible.
Why was that the last game then?
Because I never got picked after that. I thought it's the best way to end it.
That's why you got to stand in ovation, because it was shite.
I didn't officially retire for another 2 years after that, but I just never got
I was so Solskjaer as a guy, like, obviously.
Yeah,
he's doing now.
He's quite a quiet guy at the club. He had such a passion for getting better. Like, he'd practiced so much. Like, his finishing was scary, and he'd just keep practicing and practicing and practicing. He always had great. Like, his attitude was unbelievable. You probably didn't see him at that stage while I was there as a manager, but I think the club does need someone with United in their DNA, which hopefully long term he can pull it all together and get them.
Do you think they'll stick with him?
I think they will. At the moment.
Just out of stubbornness, I think.
Maybe, yeah. They give him some money to spend, haven't they?
So you could see him. Did you see him having them managerial traits at playing level?
Yeah, not. So I think in terms of, I think to do that you've got to absolutely love the game more than anything else. It's got to be your whole life, and I think seeing him as a player and his dedication, that's what he was. So I think in that way he can, like, it's a completely different character to Sir Alex Ferguson, I think, in terms of his leadership model. But I think the game's changed as well in terms of how you lead people and speak to people. So
see, I know players who played for him at Cardiff, and they were like, he's shite. He's absolutely shite. It was like, when Man United are going to give him the job, it was like laughable. They were like, are they winding us up or what?
Really?
Mm.
He doesn't seem like the type of character he'd give a bollocking out. Obviously.
Did you see he got caught on camera, didn't he?
Yeah. To Lingard.
Was it Lingard?
Yeah.
One more and you're fucking off.
We've had that a few times.
Turn around and see the boards on.
Why don't we just cut to the chase? Just take me off now.
We all know it's going to happen.
There's no point wasting another 10 minutes. You're wasting my time, we're wasting your time, we're wasting the fans' time. Just take me off now, Gaffer.
We had a question: the biggest influence on your career?
Biggest influence? That is a really hard question. I'd probably say it was a scout that took me to Man United, because Ray Medwell, because he used to, whereas it hard for me and my family at times to get me places, he'd always make sure that I could get somewhere, to games, up to Manchester, that sort of thing.
What, he'd take you up himself?
Yeah, take me up himself. So that sort of thing, probably, in terms, I was always quite more of a natural footballer where I'd just go and play, where I didn't take loads out of different coaches and that sort of thing. I'd usually just go and play my own game. I'd do what they asked me to do, but in terms of getting better, I'd play how I thought I could play. So I'd say in terms of influence, it was probably him.
So obviously Sir Alex Ferguson's been out of football for how many years now? 6, 7? He's been retired that long?
More than
Yeah.
that.
If he went back in now, obviously we're on about football changes. Do you think he'd do as good a job now if he got another 5 years with the way that football's changed and players have changed?
I think you'd have to say yeah, because of what he proven. He obviously went through that in his tenure at Man United. Obviously, everything changed from the time he went there in whatever year it was.
He evolved as well.
Yeah, I think he evolved. Yeah.
Do you think there'd be as much social media presence at United with your Pogbas, your Lingards, your Rashfords?
If Sir Alex were in charge now,
Yeah.
Would you be flashing your watches back in the day?
If I had to.
would you have got your hair dyed, comfortable in the knowledge that Sir Alex Ferguson couldn't say fuck or?
Only if I was out the way in Burnley.
Do you know when you left? Did he keep track on how you were doing?
He never. I've not spoke to him, but he said, anything you ever need. Obviously, you're not going to be a Man United player anymore, but you have been, and I think that's what the club is like. I'm pretty sure if I contacted him or something and wanted any help within reason, and I'm sure the person he is, that he would help in any way he can.
Can you remember Fabian Brandy?
Yeah.
Well, that one Was that a special drink in that nightclub, Norwich?
The,
Two Fabian Brandis, please.
he left Man U and he filtered down the leagues, and I think he ended up playing abroad or whatever. Tried to come back, and he ended up sleeping on his mate's sofa. Like, he didn't have a house, wasn't playing football anymore. And Alex Ferguson got in touch with him. This was probably 5 years after he left, maybe.
Yeah, and I think that's...
He got in touch with him.
He went down the way quick, didn't he?
Yeah. I'll have to double check the timeline, but it was basically he'd left years before.
Yeah.
Filtered his way down, got a lot of injuries, sleeping on his mate's sofa, and Alex Ferguson rang him and said, basically, give him a kick up the arse. And he ended up coming back, and so I think he signed for Walsall after that.
Yeah, I think that is...
Sums him up.
If you love them or hate it, Man United is an incredible organisation that I think always looks after people the best way it can and does right by people.
Can't be many people that do that though.
No.
Do you think the club's? Do you think the club's struggling at the minute? Then do you think it's only a matter of time before it comes back?
I think it's a matter of time, but it's just how long that's going to be, because Liverpool are so far ahead. Man City look a long way ahead in terms of consistency of what they've got. I think there's now a group of teams below them. Where before, years ago, it probably would have been Man United and Arsenal and a group of teams below them. Now it seems like Liverpool and Man City, and everyone else is playing catch up.
Were you there when Beckham went to Madrid?
No, I would have been. I think I would have been on loan.
Between loans.
Yeah, and I weren't at the club then.
But I suppose you'd have been there to see his rise to superstardom and how he was like a pop star when he at the time at United. Like, he
was everything that you didn't want to be, weren't he?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. But again, you talk about all that other stuff, but what I remember about him is that dedication. Like, there was a reason why he scored all them free kicks and set up all them goals to make himself that superstar. Was because of his dedication to do more than anyone else and to practice over and over and over again.
Changing the subject. Are you still wearing your vests and blazer combos?
I always thought it was a cardigan vest combination. I love it. It sounds good. Have a look at that. That was, I remember this distinctly. I had the vest, cardigan and beads combination when we went to Amsterdam that night that we spoke about.
And watch.
No, I wasn't allowed to watch out of the country.
What a combination.
Yeah, it's Bishop Desmond Tutu beads.
He'd just go like that on arrival and just let you know that he had a vest on. Just move his cardigan or whatever it was.
So what we have had, a running theme throughout the last few episodes, is top 5 night out players you played with. I know you're excited. You think you're going to be in there?
No, I'm not convinced.
No, you don't think he'll be in?
I don't know. He's a likeable guy, popular fella.
Yeah, you ain't going to make it.
Well, but if we go to a top 20, does he sneak in? Or?
I was trying to think. I'd say David Beckham.
Is that because you're getting anywhere?
Yeah.
There's no
getting anywhere.
There's no queuing up at fucking Vodka Revs in Cambridge with Becks on your shoulder, is there? David, just sort this out.
Is that genuine? Good on a night out? Or
I was thinking, like you're saying, like getting in places. And that.
You've gone tactical, haven't you?
I'm going to take me and 5 others.
Yeah.
Me and Bex, obviously. I've got to take Robbie Blake and Glenn Little. They'd have to come.
By the way, Blakey keeps threatening to come on this, by the way.
I know, yeah. We need to pin him down.
If you're listening, or if you know his Twitter, somebody tag him in it and tell him to get on.
Yeah.
You'd probably be annoyed with me here, Chris, but I'm going to go with Gary Dock. It was you or him, but I'm taking the Dock.
I can see that.
You don't mind coming second to Gary Dock?
Nah. If there's one man that I wouldn't mind coming second to. You weren't in Vegas that time, were you? When we were, I can't remember the name of the nightclub, but he got evicted from the nightclub because one of the lads has groped this girl's arse. And Gary Dock was stood directly behind her. So he was in the firing line when she turned. No, it wasn't him.
What were he just doing? Adjusting his cap?
He was trying to get his vest back on. So the doorman's kicked him out. So after about 10 minutes, we've gone out to try and help them get back in. And as I've walked out, I've just overheard him going, "Listen, bruv, I'm an international soccer superstar." And he was getting Google up. Trying to show him in his island kit.
It don't matter if you're international. You can't be grabbing birds' asses, Gary. So it weren't even him.
No, he was oblivious to it going on.
Oh, mate.
He just got the hook from the doorman.
You'd be furious, wouldn't you?
But yeah, he's up there.
He's got to be. Have I got one more?
We want one more, yeah.
I'll go with Tony Grant from Burnley. Lyndhurst, spitting image of Rodney Trotter.
He was first team coach at Blackburn.
He's still it when you were there.
When I was there, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And I didn't really see the good side of him.
No, yeah.
Top fella, like. But I never saw the. I'm guessing
the
the about
side
going, yeah, because he was sound, but we never. Just loved a night out, did he?
Yeah, loved it. Great banter as well. He's a funny man. Really funny man.
Just going back to Man U, did lads ever come in and you think, oh, fucking hell, he's stinking? You know, like they've had nights out and whatever and come to train next day and you thought...
It was... If people went out, it was 99% all together because the programme was so intense in terms of there weren't really days off because there was Champions League during the week, you train on a Sunday, we went out, it'd probably be everyone would go together on a team night out. So there was never really... I remember once when Mark Bosnich signed, I was only a youth team player at the time, but he come back for pre-season. He was obviously a bit worse for wear, a bit unfit. He was running around a pitch and you could just hear the manager banging on his window because it overlooked the pitch at the cliff, like telling him to hurry up. But he's sort of the beginning of the end the day after he signed for Mark.
I think I remember seeing him in the paper.
Party,
he put a bit of timber on.
Yeah,
I think he was a little bit heavy coming back.
He's the only man that Alex Ferguson signed twice, I think. Bosnich.
Really?
There you go. Fact for you. He signed him as a youth and then he went back to Australia and then he re-signed him. There you go.
Oh, fucking hell. So 70 episodes in, you've finally come up with
go with a fact.
Finally come up with a fact that's relevant for one.
No doubt we'll have 300 comments saying what a lot of shit they've
correct for two. So and totally out the blue, so well done. Top work.
Thank you.
You've got another episode, you've got another chance.
So you're doing a bit of coaching now, mate?
Yeah, so sort of slipped into the academy route when I finished at Cambridge with coaching there. I've sort of come away from that a little bit and trying to set something up with a couple of other lads called the Football Fun easy for me to say. Football Fun Factory, where it's just sort of fun sessions for just trying to get more engagement in football with young people, boys and girls.
Not like the Man United fun and games.
No, hopefully not like that.
They're not for the watch standard, just want people to come in, kids to come and enjoy it and see where it takes them.
I think it's not anything to do with development or getting into academies. It's just using football as a vehicle, as something that people can come enjoy in a pressure-free environment and
get them off their
computers, off the PlayStation and that, and sort of rather than rewarding good football skills or scoring loads of goals, we reward good attitude, good human qualities, and that sort of thing. So it's a good thing that we're setting up, and hopefully it'll grow and grow.
That was always the award you didn't want when you were younger, wasn't it?
The Sportsman of the Year.
Sportsman of the Year.
Yeah.
Clubman.
Clubman of the Year.
For fuck's sake.
Puts the nets up. Oh, he's there every training session. He's shit, but he's there every training session. Put the nets up. Good lad. Sub, but just 10 minutes at the end of every game. We'll give it him.
Can you see yourself getting back into the professional coaching and stuff, or have you had enough?
I think I've just sort of... I've had my spell in football now. I think I get more excited by sort of the business side of growing this than I do from being involved in professional football. I think it's something that served its purpose for me. I've loved every second of it, but I just can't see myself.
Do you not walk through Cambridge City Centre and think, I'd love to be a manager there with a trophy in Town Hall as a Cambridge manager?
No, you've not been up there.
Got them up to the championship or something like that. And
no, because it probably wouldn't happen. I'll get sacked after 3 months.
Your lad's doing well, though, isn't he?
Yeah, both the kids. Again, it's a lottery, innit? We were lucky enough to have had a career in a game. It's like they love playing football, and that's all that really matters to me. If they make a career out of it.
He's the oldest lad's at Cambridge, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a goalkeeper. So he got loads of confidence because he could mostly save my shots in the back guy.
Just, I wonder if going up with it, I'll give it the old. My dad played for Man U. You know what I mean?
That's I've probably told everyone anyway. So I don't need to.
Everyone well aware of it.
Yeah.
Google.
We're still wearing my match tops out.
Still got your club suit on him.
Yeah, medal underneath.
Man United club suit on in vodka Revs in Cambridge.
Would you advise him to move away? You know, because you were a little bit, when you moved up to Manchester, you got the homesick and stuff. Would you want him to stay local, or would you just let him get crack on?
I think he's got to find his own way. Like, if he was comfortable in doing that, I'd be happy to support him in anything he wants to do. Now, you look at it now and the sort of the opportunities that they get, these scholars, like, I know it's a long way, but they get the opportunity if they don't get contracts to go out and do a scholarship in America and that sort of thing. And that just seems like an incredible opportunity to me now, but that's me as
in life as well, not as a
nothing to do.
football.
But like, what a life experience that is. But I know at his age, I wouldn't have done that in a million years. Where now I think back, I'm thinking if I was maybe the person I am now, that would be an incredible thing to do. So he's got to find his own way in whatever he chooses to do.
Plus you don't have to feed him and clothe him then, do you, if it's the other side of the world?
Exactly.
Well, cheers, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Is it an Apple Watch you've got on now?
Yeah, Apple. I've actually
Downgraded?
No, I still keep the full. Don't worry, nothing goes round it. The straps broke up to hold it round like that.
It's got some fucking jacked up with sellotape on it.